right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. The discussion continues even during the break. The entire interior leadership is here and we're asking them all the questions in your own way. We're giving you back the microphone. We're trying to squeeze in as many questions as possible. Let's go straight to the audience and ask the question. Yes, sir. Start with your name and straight to the question.
Yeah, my name is Omwansa, son of Omwansa. I'm a student at MKU Law School, a student leader for all universities in Kenya. My concern here tonight is our comrades are suffering. Comrades zetu wanauliwa sana. If kama wakili mzima anaweza pigwa risasi akiwa kwa gari yake, how about comrade mwenye ana kitu, mwenye anatembea tu na bag ama kitabu yenye ametoka nao shule? Just to give you an example, watu wa MMU, like I've said, Bangladesh pale kwa hizo slums hapo, we don't have lights there, but we have been meeting student leaders, we've been meeting OCSs. I don't know what they report to you when people are being killed hapo. Ukiangalia hapa Tuk, nimesema hapa kwa bridge, people are also being killed there. Kwenda nyumbani sahi ukiwa na all body parts ni bahati ya Mungu. Ukiangalia Kenya Mas kwa hiyo bridge hapo, we always have askaris there from 7 p.m. to 8:30. Na waangalianga sana, wakifika 8:30 washapotea. Comrades huwezi pita hapo. Yet honestly we work during the day or we go to class, na jioni pia tunataka to extend tufanye mambo mingi. Enda Udhiru, Kabete National Polytechnic, roundabout ya Udhiru hapo, kijana wetu amenyanganywa mkono pale, sahi yako handicap maze. It's not really fair. So we're requesting the government, as you meet student leaders, as you meet the OCSs, me I'm requesting, please weka lights pale, weka askari hapo pia. They are trying at Kenya Mas, enda KU, Kenya Market, KM huko. Comrades cannot pass, na huko ndio wanatoka hostel penye wanakuja shule. We are really suffering, bwana CS. If you help us at that, sisi tunashukuru na tunasema we will be able to support you as you had said. Thank you so much.
IG, respond to that before we bring in CS. On the issue of patrols and police. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Trevor. And I also want to appreciate that question because number one, it's very, very important. And number two, I also want to appreciate the Citizen TV for having invited us here so that we can also be able to meet at a partner together with the community and the security providers so that we can be able to get it straight from the people. And I'm saying that personally I'm very happy from what I have heard that there are certain areas at certain times there are no police officers. Yeah, so these are some of the areas that we can be able to ensure that we revisit, we look at the strategies that we have put actually in place so that we ensure that we provide safety and security to all and sundry, including the students who are carrying on with their studies, whether at TUK, whether at some other places. I want to assure you that all these informations, they are important to us actually as a leadership of the National Police Service, and we are going to deal and ensure that you are satisfied and you can actually be able to attend to your duties as required.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Waziri?
From a policy perspective, first of all, we will have Jukwaa la Usalama for Nairobi, which is the penultimate, the last one, next week Friday, and we'll make sure that we invite all the student leaders from the various universities in the Nairobi metropolitan area. But if you had my earlier answer, from our security engagement across the country, it's becoming very clear that there must be proper security or officers that are attached to institutions of higher learning, including colleges. And it is important that we have greater synergy between the National Police Service and the security managers in the university, and also involving the students. This conversation we're having with you here should not have waited until we're here. It is possible to get the student leaders to be part of the sub-county security team. And the IG has been trying to increase the number of sub-counties where we have OCPDs within Nairobi so that it can cover this issue. With this level of involvement, it should be able to get us solve this problem at a local level. And lastly, is that in terms of strength, the reason why we are going for police recruitment soon, or about 10,000 police officers, is also to increase the number so that this issue of patrol is taken care of. It's also important that the Nairobi County government and the national government pick up the issues of light all over. But more importantly, we need to bolster this issue of security, the CCTVs in the city. The moment all these criminals realize that they are being watched, it will be very easy to deal with this issue. I believe it's something that can be resolved, and those are some of the policy discussions or the thoughts. I used to be a student leader, and in my days when I was in Parklands campus of the University of Nairobi at that time, there were very few law schools, we would walk from main campus to Parklands, and there was no issue. You'd walk even midnight, late night, and so forth. But because of the numbers, the many things that have happened in the city, it's important to restore that level of security for students to not to be confined. If you are an architecture student, for example, using again University of Nairobi, you would spend a lot of time in ADD for almost the whole night. By the time you are going to your hostel, it's about 3 or 4 in the morning. So it's important to make sure that the city is safe for any citizen to walk anytime at night, and we will work on that.
All right, let's talk about the border sector as a national security issue. And the chairman is here. Kindly pass the microphone to the border team so that we also hear. Pass the microphone to the chairman, and then I'll give you the microphone.
Okay.
Let's have this microphone to the border chair, then it will come back to you. All right. Kindly pass the microphone to the chairman of the border to talk about this issue of the border as a national security issue and the reforms that were brought in place. Yes, start with your name, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Ken Onyango, the National Chairman for Central Organization of Border Riders. Trevor, one thing ambayo nataka kusema, which is very, very important, the CS has gone around the country, and the good thing, it happened in Bungoma. The CS was, you saw it on the podium, the fragmented leadership that has affected the border sector. And the Ministry of Interior actually plays a very important role. When the CS was the Minister for Transport, he actually gazetted the County Transport and Safety Committee in all the 47 counties, which I sit in one of the board of the County Transport and Safety Committee, to address some of the challenges that you have seen. Recently, you've seen border actually accused that they are banning vehicles just in case of an accident when it happens. One thing that I want to put across maybe in this meeting, because border is a very important component in our ecosystem in this country. But the most important thing is organizing border in circles. Because let me tell you, when borders are organized within circles, 100 or 200 borders within circles, they are able to self-regulate themselves and understand that this one operates from this stage, going like this and the other way. Compared to the way maybe the way the government maybe have tackled the border issue.
So Ken, do you welcome the reforms that the government is proposing for the border sector?
We welcome it.
Registration, uniforms, all of you to have good conduct and to tell the people where you're operating from.
If you go to Nairobi CBD today, and through the help of Governor Sakaja, Nairobi CBD today, border have already organized themselves into what the government is proposing. Already. But the problem is, you find that there are some quarters that are still pushing border to operate the way they used to operate before. So we need the goodwill from the Ministry of Interior and sana this ministry. And the reason why we came in our numbers, the border Inua Mikono, we came in a good number today because the Citizen TV invited us. We want the CS usukume na ile nguvu ulisukuma kwa Ministry of Transport. All the border riders to organize themselves within circles.
But what goodwill do you require from the ministry if we cannot even get you to wear helmets? Your people do not wear helmets.
You see the issue of helmet, and that's why I was actually directing you, Trevor, for us to go back to the issue of self-regulation, because the police cannot do everything. You cannot tell me today that the police will keep on chasing after border riders. I can tell you some of the police officers have lost their lives because border, when they find themselves in a situation where they'll be arrested by the police and piki yake in the police station. We were at State House the other day with the PS, and the president directed that all the border riders' bikes that have been impounded and are still at the police station be released. And the IG is there. Some of them have not been released, but I know that it's going to be done. The only thing ninaomba tu ya kwamba the Ministry of Interior itusaidie. Jukwaa la usalama that the CS has been going around the country, fanya jukwaa ya boda so that usikie the same story that you've had in Bungoma, in Kilifi, and everywhere in the same sector.
All right, thank you. Yes, thank you, Ken. Let's hear from the IG. Why haven't the borders been released as was directed at State House?
No, okay, thank you very much, Trevor. That directive of the president is actually being implemented fully. Yeah, and I want to assure you that, and I know my good friend there can confirm this, that several of them have actually been released, but there could be others that are having, their cases before courts of law, depending with the offenses that could have been committed. So again, we must also look into that. But those ones with the petty issues, all of them have actually been released.
Why has it been a challenge, IG, to implement discipline? Because now we are talking about having border borders regulated, wear uniforms, but they simply cannot even follow traffic rules. How are you intending to carry out the enforcement part of it? It's one thing to talk about the regulations that they need to adhere to. It's another to enforce. How do you intend to do it differently this time?
Thank you, Trevor. Let me say this. I would wish that, number one, we attain a situation whereby that very, very important sector of border, attains the status of self-regulating in a manner that we can be able, and we are working with many others, we can be able to work in a harmonious way whereby these people, the border sector, can work with the policing service that here we have this challenge. We want you to assist with this. You see, that is what we would like, as opposed to the other way around, of doing things. Yeah. So we want a situation whereby the border sector is self-regulating, and that is the reason why the idea of coming up, everybody registering with the SACCOs so they can be able to self-regulate is very, very important to me as the Inspector General, and actually the National Police Service for that matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Waziri, what is the best way of dealing with this? Because even when we say that they should be registered and they should wear uniforms, we know that some of them, most of the time, that were used to commit crime, did not even have registration plates.
I think the first thing is first to register all of them in SACCOs. I think first the county's transport committees should function. And there is need for leadership at the county level, because transport is also a shared function, and the part of transport is devolved. County government must take initiative to ensure that the county's transport committees are working. Number two is that once you put them in SACCOs, then they get a license. And they get a license as a SACCO. So it becomes punitive for a member of the SACCO if they commit an offense. That problem can transfer to the SACCO as a whole, because if there will be repeat offenders, then you can be able to withdraw the license. The other issue is to ensure that going forward, we invest in technology such that there is a digital enforcement, where Nairobi, for example, the Minister of Transport was working on ITS, Integrated Transport System, that is going to be used for enforcement of traffic offenses, and it will be nice to infuse in technology. If you are not wearing an helmet, your number plate is captured, you get instant fines. If you are overspeeding, the same. If you are driving in areas that borders are not licensed to operate, you get the punishment. So if the ITS system works in Nairobi and Mombasa, and it already received funding after the president spoke to the government of China and Korea, I think that this is also one way that future. And finally,
but how will it work in the villages?
Finally, yes, that's where I was coming. Finally, why we need borders to be in their own SACCOs with their own uniform is because of what we saw in Kisii on 1st of September. And during the Jukwaa la Usalama in Kisii, it was really a matter of great concern. What has happened? What happened in Kisii is that you will find the borders groups are being forced to wear uniform of certain political players. So everybody now is hiring a certain group of border groups, giving them their uniform, putting them on standby for political mobilization, and maintaining them to some of them are committing very serious crimes. They're actually facilitating gangs and goons. In fact, the Kisii story was so sad that there was a corner where people are being tortured. If you don't agree with certain political side, you are picked, you are tortured behind the scenes there, and it is generally known. The same issue, we had problems of gangs and border in western and other parts of the country. Let me say, if we leave it to the police, and that is where Kara comes in, if we leave purely to the police cannot manage the sheer number of border borders in the country.
Yeah.
It will be required that we reduce it to a smaller unit so that even when we're talking about police, maybe sub-county security committee, but county government is there, NTSA is there. This is a multi-billion sector. And again, I repeat, as a former Minister of Transport, the greatest potential that is in this border sector can greatly be harnessed and achieved. If we organize them in circles, we will achieve more in security benefits. And then ensure then that the sub-county security team, the chair of the border group in the sub-county sits in the county security team, so that he's appearing as an ex-officio member together with, as I said, student leaders in the area and so forth. And we will get more intelligence report, we will protect the business, and we will be able to organize this sector away from criminal activities.
Okay, let me hear what Henry has to say from the Kara perspective. Is this where you come in? Because you had mentioned earlier on that there needs to be a balance between community policing and the people as well. What is the best way of dealing with borders? Because they do come from the society.
Perhaps I'll answer that question by giving an example of some of the practices that are taking place across most urban areas. A number of associations have realized that they have to work with border community. So they've integrated them as part of their structure and part of their system. So we find that we have associations that are working very closely with the border operators. They've actually created mechanism of engaging with them, of communicating with them, and also even supporting them in terms of even providing the reflectors and all that. Because we do realize that we need the services for border operators. They are part and parcel of the community. But we also want to make sure that as we relate with them, as we get benefit from their services, we also address the element of insecurity that is a major concern across various neighborhoods. We have had reports, we have had information where border operators within certain neighborhoods are actually becoming sources of insecurity because they drive or they ride into an estate and some of them carry out surveillance and carry out insecurity activities. So proactive resident associations have gone a step ahead to make sure that they are finding ways of integrating them as part of their community and supporting them so that they can get their services but also address the element of insecurity. But overall, I think there's need to find a national way of making sure that we have regulation of the border. It has happened in other countries. I know maybe we need to see how it's happening, but they certainly need to make sure that we have this sector properly regulated.
PS, from a policy perspective, what is the best way of dealing with this sector?
I think already there are proposals in terms of the self-regulation within the border sector. But as a government, we must work closely with the border sector to have real laws that then the people who operate in that ecosystem own, so that when it comes to implementation, it becomes easy, as opposed to leaving it, let's say, to border on their own, or leave it to us as government to be the ones who are running with the regulations and then trying to enforce. But then there is a lot of scope for use of technology, just like the CSR said. In the more remote areas, it's still possible to utilize or to make use of technology by way of, you still have where you can have cameras, but also the phones, so that if there are offenses, you can easily punish, but then also you are able to monitor who is moving from one point to the other. But also, even in a stricter sense, we must also be able to have a situation where we are also controlling access to certain places. In cities like you go to Addis, you'll struggle to see borders in certain spaces because you have walkways, people are supposed to walk because you don't want to have chaos all over. And I think those within the border sector, and my friend is here, we need to take stock and agree that in certain spaces, like within the CBD, for example, of Nairobi, I don't see a need for us to have borders there. But whether it is in the residences or out of town, they play a very big role. But then we just have to tidy the space, working also with the county governments, because they have a role to play as well.
So when will that decision be taken to have borders out of the CBD?
We already are having conversations, so I cannot put a fixed timeline, but that will depend on how fast we're able to bring everybody on the table and then agree on how to do that, because then you also have to have the input from the county government, because they also have a big responsibility on that.
All right. Yeah. So when the question, yes, you have the microphone, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Caleb Wanga. Caleb Wanga. I work for Usalama, and I also serve in the security board of Kara. First of all, allow me to congratulate, let me call you young leaders. Jukwaa la Usalama is doing wonderful things.
Okay, question.
We feel very, very happy when we see chiefs, junior police officers expressing their views like that. Now my question is this.
Yes,
I believe in miracles, Trevor, and getting recruited into Kenya Police is one of the miracles that can happen to you.
Okay.
As we struggle to deal with crime in the society, we must deal with how people are recruited into the police. There is massive corruption that every Kenyan knows of what happens in the police recruitment processes. There was a time when we were discussing the new constitution before it was even formulated.
Yes.
When we suggested that communities should have a say when Caleb is a young man to be recruited into police, the community where Caleb comes should have a say.
Okay.
But what happens now? The minister have said that you want to recruit 10,000 police officers. I know 8,000 of them names will be forwarded by politicians, senior government officials, senior police officers. Now, and a few people who can raise 200,000 or 300,000. If a young man is recruited knowing that the parent bribed so that he can get the chance to be a police officer, how will that young man behave when he gets into the service? We are trying to do some things that might not help the society. These Kenyans are ready to support the government. Kenyans love Kenya. Can you make it work for the members of the public to support the police? Minister, we are hoping to see miracles in this year's recruitment of the police.
Okay.
Can we see miracles where young men walk into the recruitment centers without a godfather or a godmother? And then they are recruited.
Okay.
That person will serve the country with passion.
All right. Thank you, Caleb.
You get into the police itself. Now every young police officer wants to get to the traffic, because people go there to make money. Everybody knows we see police officers collecting bribes everywhere, every day, and nothing happens.
All right. Thank you, Caleb.
It's a state of helplessness.
All right.
Thank you
Kindly
so much.
pass the microphone to the young man over there. We had agreed that we'll give you a chance. Pass the microphone to the young man over here. So, but as you're passing the microphone to him, let's hear what IG has to say about that in terms of recruitment and corruption. Settle down, please. Settle down. Yes, IG.
Thank you very much, Trevor. And I want to appreciate actually that question very much, because it is true. In recruitment, there is a lot of corruption. That is something that we know. And this time around, I want to assure you, Trevor, and the rest of the Kenyan people, this time around we are going to recruit police officers in a manner that has actually been described there. You walk in, if you are qualified, you get recruited, period. That is exactly what myself, together with the leadership here, that is what we want. And we are ready. For your information, any person who will go against that spirit, we are ready to take someone home to the jail straight, to ensure that it is just those light people who are recruited in this service. And in fact, what I'm saying, Trevor, look at it this way. I myself, as the Inspector General, I have invited the EACC to come and review our systems, to come and review our policies, to come and look at our SOPs, so that we can be able to get to understand where are these gaps. Now, the other day, I had an exit a meeting with the EACC. They are ready to provide us with a report which we commissioned way back in April of this year. And amongst the information that we have gotten is that that is an area that really has got a lot of challenges. But now we have actually been assisted with the information that we have so far gotten on how we can actually be able to deal with that issue.
Waziri, I'd like to jump in on this because there's been a concern about the recruitment process this time round. Is it online? When is it happening? How do you ensure that people in the remote areas who can't access internet apply?
I think that I don't want to preempt what the National Police Service Commission is working on because they have briefed me on those issues. So I'll be jumping ahead to, but the discussion is around, do you go fully online, and then what happens when someone in Illirit in Marsabit gets to the station and they were unable to be shortlisted online. Now he reaches there, he was unable to go online, and then he goes to the recruitment center and he's told you are not eligible because you have not been shortlisted. So those are some of the things that the National Police Service Commission with the National Police Service working together to make sure that they finalize the details. But this is one of the directives I gave to the Commission, that they need to complete the process during daylight in the presence of everybody. At least it will guarantee some level of transparency. What used to happen, what actually happens, what used to happen before is that you do the recruitment, it's okay, during the day everybody's seeing, somebody has run, people are shortlisted, they're told this number, out of this number we wanted 4. Then they are told now we will go for medical. That medical happens at night, after 6 and so forth. After that 6, everybody who was in the place, they say they all failed medical. Then some new people are put there who have contributed, paid for their medical tests to get 300,000, 500,000. And these stories are true. In fact, the communities themselves, they know so-and-so bought, so-and-so paid, and the only thing they do is to complain. I don't know if citizens know that they have also something called citizens arrest, that you can arrest someone on site and deliver them to police station. You can even arrest them with their money and take them to the police station. Yeah? And even you can keep the XP so that you can produce in court. And let me say this. So as part of the recruitment this time round, we have said, 1, it should end by 4. They are going to agree, either 4 or 5 during daylight. 2, they must involve community. How? All the observers must be accredited, human rights bodies, religious organization, youth leadership. Those observers who will be accredited must be accredited in good time. Within this period of advertisement, you have accredited all the observers. Let them come there and observe the process from end to end. Without a place, there will be no corner to hide. Let people say, we saw and so the area, number 1 was getting because of running, number 2 was getting this one, as we improve the process. Let me request this again as a joint effort between us and the public. I request the members of public, because they have complained over and over again, to take interest in the recruitment that is upcoming and be present in the recruitment center or the field, because it's going to happen in a field, and let's follow the process together.
Same recruitment
and follow, including
delayed because of the National Police Service
organization,
Commission.
NGOs and so forth. Let us follow the process as we document.
Waziri, has that been resolved?
Yes.
Before we even get to the recruitment, it delayed because of the National Police Service Commission were not in agreement with the style of it all. Has that been resolved?
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to preempt a process that is almost coming to an end of internal conversation within National Police Service Commission. They are working out on that one. I have no doubt in my mind that in a matter of days they will come out with the roadmap. Once that roadmap, but the recruitment time has been agreed. That it should end either 4 or 5. It's a finalization. Is it going to be 5 or 4? And there's nothing wrong.
But when will it start?
There's nothing wrong with saying in this station, because the recruitment team arrived late, or in this place because it was raining, or because there was this issue, let's do it tomorrow. Because we want to make sure that everything happens during the day.
Yeah. Waziri, you're only talking about the end of the recruitment. When does it start?
Oh, in the morning.
It ends at 4? When
starts by 8 to 4 or 5.
Which date?
Oh, no. The day they will agree, the date will be announced.
Okay.
Because the days will be announced, and the recruitment centers will also be announced, and the time between 8
up to 4 or 5, as they will be agreed, and it will be part of those procedures that will be announced in a matter of days. Okay. And so I request Kenyans, we know the corruption is there. The gentleman has spoken to it. We know that in the traffic sector, we are very notorious as citizens of Kenya in violating traffic rules and then paying bribes for it. As much as our police officers are also notorious in collecting bribes. I used to tell people when I was in transport that you know that it's a 14-seater matatu, but you are a Mkenya and you are entering the matatu by force and saying tupendane tukae pamoja. You know for sure it's 14-seater. Those who are sitting inside know it's a 14-seater and they're not telling the guy get out. So we are complacent. We are the ones who are even telling matatus on the way, can you speed? Can you overtake this one? Can you do this other thing? So there is need for us to come back to our senses and cooperate. When President Kibaki came to office, there was a certain level of citizen consciousness. I was still in the university that time, but there was such a, horror and commitment in the citizens. They were arresting police officers who are collecting bribes. We should be able to take these issues very seriously so that we don't look also helpless as citizens.
All right, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Kefa Okari. I'm the Secretary General Multimedia University. First of all, allow me to clarify on the issue you addressed on how the youths are engaged. We have the Jukwaa la Wasomi. It's an initiative run by USPAC and students with the county commissioners in promoting peace within the universities and the county commissioner in the respective regions. Number 2, my question goes to the PS, that the PS, Magadi Road is becoming a crime scene. Are you aware that earlier April we lost a comrade under mysterious circumstance on the same Magadi Road? We raised our concern, a file was open, and we're being told up to date that investigations are being done. So what's the assurity that the resolution, among the resolutions we gave that the CCTV to be installed along Magadi Road, but nothing has been done up to date. So PS, what's the assurity that the resolutions even we're giving today, they're going to be met?
Okay. Thank you, Kefa. The operations is with the IG, but there's a part of it that involves a bit of policy. So you can respond to that, and then IG will talk. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe from the policy perspective, there is already the directive and the guidance on the installation, first of all, of CCTV cameras across all the police stations. And then there is a ICT program that is being run from the police headquarters that is providing coverage primarily for Nairobi and Mombasa, and we are working on its extension to the rest of the major towns and cities across the country. Now, this has just been closed, and the expectation is that within the next 1 month, we should be able to have quantified what it requires in terms of the budget provisions, and then as we work on the supplementary one, we'll be able to make a case that will allow us to roll it out, even if it's in a phased manner. I just want to give the assurance to the student leader that we are not just here to give an account of what we have done on security matters over the last 3 years, but we are also here to also take feedback for purposes of making things better as we go forward into the remainder of the current term. Okay. And the fact that we are now incorporating the student leadership as part of our security architecture in terms of the engagement and the conversation speaks to the determination that we have as a ministry to ensure that we are not just talking, but we are taking the necessary steps. Okay. Yeah, but also it's important to look at the entire student ecosystem. Yeah. When you look at even where the students are staying, we need to give dignity back to the students. We need to have an environment that is conducive for students to learn, not just the lecture halls, but even the student accommodation. As part of the affordable housing program, we are rolling out a number of hostels across the country as a government. This would invariably go towards helping us address some of these persistent complaints and issues. Because with those new dignified accommodation, then you will also have installation of CCTVs, proper lighting, and this will make it very difficult for anyone who would want to mess around. Okay. Yes.
IG, from the operations perspective, and what Kefa is asking, even as we wait to install the CCTVs and the lights, why is it so difficult to just have people patrolling that area? Why don't you have police officers patrolling that area, the troublesome areas consistently?
Thank you very much, Trevor. And first of all, I want to start by appreciating the question that has been raised by the student leader. While looking at the issues, I'm happy to note that the leadership of the university, through the student leaders, they are also working closely with the county commissioner and the security providers. To me, that is important because number one, a county commissioner is also the chair of the county security committee. And in that security committee, the police are there, the National Intelligence Service is there, the DCI is there, and all those security providers. My promise to you, from where I sit, is to ensure, number one, there is visibility of police, both uniformed and those in plain clothes, to ensure that there is adequate security in the entire of that route. And number two, you have heard what the CS has said, that we are also moving in that direction of ensuring that we incorporate technology to ensure that your life becomes easy. You can actually be able to stand at any time of the day or night without looking back over your shoulder that your security is compromised. So that is actually the promise that we would wish to.
All right. Yes. But the microphone is over here, and then there's a lady back there as well. Let's be gender sensitive a bit.
Thank you very much.
Let's pass this microphone to the ladies there. The ladies have not spoken much. Please, let's be orderly. Pass the microphone to the lady back there. Kindly pass the microphone to the lady over there, tafadhali, so that we hear what the ladies have to say. We have not heard from the ladies. I'll give you a chance. Pass the microphone, tafadhali. Let's just be orderly. Sit down, tafadhali. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Londa Kenya. I'm representing community policy in Kenya. Naomba niulize hii swali kwa Kiswahili. Swali yangu inaenda kwa PS. Umetuambia ya kwamba nimesikia ukitaja mambo ya community policy. Najua kwa budget ya kila mwaka kuna budget ya community policy. Na sisi tunapeanga serikali information kila wakati, kila siku, kila mahali. Hapa majuzi mumeona ule mtu mwenye alichoma watu Kisii. Hiyo information mlipewa mahali alikuwa amejificha Kibera na community policy. Nauliza swali yangu ni hii. Sababu budget inatengwa kila mwaka. Utatusaidiaje sisi, manake hatupati chochote kwa hiyo budget ya community policy? Swali ya pili, sijui nitajibiwa na nani. Kwa miaka 3 kuja kuwa na police recruitment hapa. Na saa ile namba mnatupea ni 10,000. Nauliza hiyo 10,000 ndio inasimamia miaka 10. Wamekufa officers wetu wengi sana. Wengine wameenda retire. Imekuaje mtupatie 10,000 peke yake? Tunaomba tafadhali muongeze na vijana wetu kazi na watoto wetu wapate kazi, ndio hata hiyo demonstration ipungue.
All right, thank you Kenya. PS. And then CS will respond on the recruitment numbers.
Yes, so you've raised a valid point that there is always a budget for community policing. I need to, I'll want to defer to the accounting officer for the National Police Service.
Yes.
Sawa, nitajibu kwa Swahili. Nasema kwa mambo ya budget ya community policing, kuna mwenzangu hapa anaitwa Badis, ambaye ni accounting officer wa National Police Service.
Okay.
So tutampatia nafasi kidogo azungumzia hayo.
Okay. All right.
Lakini kabla ya yeye respond, umeuliza mambo ya recruitment numbers ya polisi. Juu kwa miaka 3 hatujawahi recruit polisi. Kwa ukweli kuna gap kubwa. Initially tulikuwa tunapewa budget ya kurecruit 5,000 officers. But through the CS tulisukuma na tukapewa double number, ikawa 10,000. Na bado tutazidi kusukuma tupate nafasi zaidi ya hii 10,000. So hii ni kuanzia, because kwa hii administration tangu tuingie kwa ushukani ndio mara ya kwanza tuna recruit officers 10,000. So pengine mwaka ujao tutafanya 10,000 ama 5,000, na tutazidi fill hiyo gap because kuna attrition, kuna wenye wanakufa, kuna wenye wanatoka service wanaenda kwa kazi zingine. So ni muhimu tupate namba yenye nafaa. Juu kwa sasa venye CEO wa Kara alisema, unapata kwa kila ofisa moja kuna Wakenya zaidi ya 500. Na inahitajika tukue Wakenya 400 kwa ofisa mmoja. So tutazidi kuongeza namba ya maofisa tuna recruit ili hiyo ratio ikuje sawa sawa.
But do we have the facilities to train 10,000 police officers at a go?
Yes, we have the capacity. We have the capacity to do it. We've done our mapping. Yeah. We have training centers across that would be able to take the 10,000.
All right. Let's pass the microphone to Banisi Alal. She's here. Alikuwa anafaa kujibu. Pass the microphone to Banisi. She's over here. Tafadhali. To answer the community policing. Yes.
Yeah, kwa ule dada ningependa tu kuongezea kwamba unajua chochote yenye unataka kufanya lazima kuwe na bajeti. Na ile pesa tunatumia ni nyinyi wananchi mmetupatia. Kwa hivyo tunajaribu kubalance kadiri ya uwezo ya wananchi kupitia kodi yao, uwezo wao wa kuweza kutupatia nafasi ya kuandika hawa kazi. Lakini pia ya pili ni kwamba kwenda mbele lazima tuweke sana mambo ya teknolojia mbele. Ukienda nchi nyingi sana, utaenda jiji kama Nairobi, hakuna askari utamuona barabarani. Na si kwamba yuko askari yuko, lakini ako ofisi, anaona zile kamera zote. Hata wakati rais ya nchi hiyo akitoka barabara, anaweka barabara yenye atapitia red light, anafungia wale wengine, anapita. Sio lazima ukuwe na askari hapo asimamishe watu. So let me say this, as we move forward with greater investment in technology, for example, the ITS, the instant finding system, the digital OB that the IG talked about, when we invest in digital OB, we can leverage on technology to the extent that a job that was being done by 100 police officers will be done by 1, or even 1,000 in some cases by 1. So that then we can give our police officers the necessary protection, the necessary equipment, and raise their salary. We have a certain number, but better technology, then you have greater services. The last thing I want to say is that ordinarily, I saw many people clapped when we said we are going to hire 10,000 police officers. It's going to take care of our young people. The danger of government is to continue engaging more people to public service at the expense of the budget providing development. Ordinarily, we should be doing things at the economy sector that injects more resources in areas that will ensure private sector is employing many people. But traditionally, over time, we have taken as a nation public service as the only employer that takes care of our young people. I hope that the interventions, and I believe the interventions that the government is putting in place in the long term, including security interventions in areas where it has been insecure, will give private sector the impetus to invest in our economy in such a way that more people will be hired by private sector and the public service becomes lean, so that more of the resources of public service goes to the development.
All right. I'll take a quick break, but there's a question that Banis was supposed to respond to. Let's take another quick break, then we are back with the questions as well. There's too many questions. We will try and fit as many as we can right after this break, all right?